Hello lovelies, come into the studio. Dyan Reaveley here of Dylusions, and I'm here with episode 3 of the Diamond series. If you're enjoying these, give me a click, give me a subscribe, and I'll end up doing a lot more. Okay, so this is episode 3 of my diamond range, and today we are going to be using the dust again, the diamond dust, and we're going to be turning them into paints, and we're going to be painting with them. They're absolutely beautiful, and you are going to need some black card and a thin brush, thinner than the one we used. This is the one that is from a diamond range. You could use this, but I don't like to get this wet, so this is the number 4 brush from my brush set. So just a nice fine brush and some water. Okay, enjoy. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to use the dusts again, but this time we're going to turn them into the most beautiful shimmer paint. Okay, so I'm just going to put those to one side because first of all we have to have something to paint. So what I am going to do, the best way to practice is to take a stencil, any stencil, and draw it onto your page. Now you can outline this in black, but if I outline in black it's not going to show up for you. So just got a bit of a blob, so I'm outlining it in white, but you can outline in anything. It could be pencil, it could be, you know, whatever you want to do, but as I say, that's not going to show up on screen for you to see, so I'm going to go in with white. I tend to do a lot of the same shapes first, I don't know why. Can you hear the rain? Actually, I'm not sure if that's rain on my studio roof or whether the snow's melting. It's probably a mix of both. So when you're first learning, you want to use a stencil that's not got massive shapes in and doesn't have tiny shapes in. So something like this is perfect. And then once you know what you're doing, you can do whatever you want. So there are products on the market that you can paint with. I have my own. I have shimmer paint, but that can be quite thick. I wouldn't actually paint in designs with that because that can be quite thick. And then I also have shimmer inks, which are absolutely beautiful, but you have to open up the bottle, you have to tip a little of the ink out. It can be dangerous because you never know if you're going to knock the bottle over. The number of times I have done that is unbelievable. And you know, and yes, you can do that, but I'm a big believer in something doing more jobs, more than one job. So we've already used the dust dry with stamping, we've used it dry through a stencil. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn it into a shimmery solution that you can paint with. Now, years and years ago, I used to do this with a product called Pearlex, which was absolutely beautiful, but it didn't have the binders in that ours have. So to paint with them, first of all, you had to make yourself a little palette, and you had to mix it with gum arabic, and sometimes you had to put a little bit of washing up liquid in there as well if it wouldn't mix very well. So you had to make up palettes. I used to teach classes where I would make up these palettes beforehand, and then people would get to keep the palette, and they were gorgeous. But they just didn't have the binders, so they came off everything. So with mine having the binders in, they are so much more versatile. Okay. Again, I'm not particularly that neat. I'm not that bothered. I am terrible at that. I'm sorry about that. But not. Okay. Oh, I've usually missed something. There'll be something on here. Oh, there we go. I was going to say there'll be something. There's always one, but I actually think I missed that one as well. So there was two. Have I got everything else? Yes, marvellous. So, and then I can cover this white later. I can go back over it with a white pen, or I can go over it with a black pen, or a paint pen, a coloured paint pen, anything like that, or a black glaze, and it will look fabulous. So, sorry, I'm just flicking my hair up out of the way. There we go. So let's get these turned into paints. So I'm just going to swap them as usual. I've got them in my little box lid. You might notice, let's move these out of the way now. We don't want to use these brushes this time. I'm going to use one of my paint brushes, which is thinner. Can you see? It's a lot thinner. I have sets of paint brushes. We get 5 and one missing. Oh, there it is. I do sets of the 5 paintbrushes. So we have the number 4, we have the number 6, and then we have some flats. So we have the 3/8, we have 1/2 inch, and we have 3/4 of an inch with the gorgeous pink handles. And that's I'm going to use. I usually use, I've painted with the flats before if I'm doing a bigger area, but I love the number 4. And if you can see the difference. So I'm just going to put those out of the way. Now, you might notice that some of the lids, because as you know, I keep all my lids open, but you might notice that this is discoloured because it's actually got purling. And then you might notice from the odd one that we've got like this dried. That's because I made painty solutions and I've used them, and then they've dried out. You can get rid of that, but I don't. I just reconstitute it and off we go again. We just, you know. So I think I'm going to start with the pink. So this one is, you can see here, this is Pink Flamingo. I use the lid as a little palette. You could use your mat, you could have a little paint palette, you could do whatever. The reason I use the lid is I know it's always there, and if I wanted to, I could just put the lid back on. It's not a problem. It's not going to ruin the dust or anything. I'm covered. I've been painting, so I'm covered in ink. And I like to know it's there. Now, if you do it on a mat, every time you finish, you're going to wipe that away, and it's a little bit of a waste. So again, you could maybe get a little palette, but then you've got an extra palette. I just think the lid's always there. I'm going to use the lid. Okay, so what I do, first of all, I'm going to make up some paint in here for you, and then I'll show you. I'll maybe do some with this one to show you how it can reconstitute. So you want some water, and I add the water first. I'm just going to add a bit of water into that lid. You can see I had a couple of spritz, and then I'm just, with the wrong end of my brush, I'm just going to pick up a little pile. Can you see? A little pile of powder in there, and then I'm just going to mix it together with the water. Now remember, my dust has binders in, so we don't need to spray this afterwards at all. I'm just going to put a little bit more powder in there, okay? I always use the back of the brush to mix it up, but it's entirely up to you. It wants to be slightly thicker than the consistency of milk. If it is too thin, it'll be quite streaky. If it is too thick, you will struggle. I've sort of got quite a knack now of getting it right. So let's see, just wet my brush, sorry. There we go. How gorgeous is that? Absolutely beautiful. So if it was too thick, it would struggle. You'd see bits. And if it was too thin, you just wouldn't see this colourway. Okay? Now, my studio's really warm at the moment because we've had snow. I've had all the heaters on, and so things are drying quick. So what happens when this dries, when this ends up like this, is the water evaporates out and you're left with the mica. You're left with the dust in the bottom. So when you're in a warm atmosphere, this will start getting thicker as you go, and you'll need to, you might need to spritz just a little bit more water in. Okay, so I'm in my black dot journal and I'm just going to paint with it. I mean, how gorgeous is that? So you might say, well, you can do this with your shimmer sprays. Yes, you can, but you wouldn't have this intense of colour, especially on black. If you use, and here are some of my shimmer sprays, well, they're absolutely gorgeous. Yep. You see, all my shimmer sprays laid down. But on black, you see the colour of the dust rather than the colour of the spray. Oh, wrong one. I'm not going in there. I was going to do diagonal lines. Now, again, as with everything I do, I'm not very neat because I usually go over the white line again to push that out the way. I usually go over it again at the end, so I'm not too bothered. But I'm a doodler. I love doodling. If you don't like doodling, just be a bit neater when you are painting in. Okay. So I've just chosen an all over pattern here, but you can, I have got images where I've actually used it to paint as well. So I think I'm going to go with 4 colours on here. Yep. I think we'll have 2 diagonal stripes, and we'll maybe do pink and pink, bubblegum and pink flamingo. This is pink flamingo. And then we will do the circles in postbox red. And we will do the these little bits in the London blue. So I'm going to be using at least 4 of the colours. So just a couple more down here. If you have made it too runny, just add some more powder and go again. If you've made it too thick, just paint over the top with some water on your brush and add more water to your solution. Okay. So I've got 1 more to do in the pink flamingo. Again, it's more dramatic on the black. You can use it on any. So I'm going to pop those 2 back in. And as usual, it gets stronger as it dries. So the more it dries, the more shimmer you will see. Okay, to clean your brush, I normally have a water pot, but I actually took it up to the house and forgot to bring it back down again. So I just rinse it with some water and just with a baby wipe, just clear it out. Okay, so this time I'm going to use the bubblegum pink. Now you can see here, there is some, can you see there is some already in there? So when I spritz some water in, all you have to do next time is just slowly mix this up. Can you see where it's all just melting? Get it out the little grooves. Okay, so that's melting down. But I'm going to need more than that. So I'm going to add a bit of, so I've melted that down and I'm going to add more powder in as well. Now, if you get any of the wet in the powder, it won't matter. It'll be absolutely fine. They're so easy to use. When I get near the bottom of this set, which, if you look at my green, is not going to be long. Have you ever known anybody go through the powders as much as I do? When I get to the bottom, I'm going to turn this set into, you know, I could mix water with that and make that all green paint. It'll dry solid, but then I'll be able to use it. And these now, they're there. They're not going to shift. Whatever you do to them, they are going to stay because we've added the water, which has activated the binder. Okay, so let's go with this one. So this is my pink flamingo. Oops, had a bit of a blob. Oh my gosh, I'm just addicted to dust on black. I just find it just so gorgeous, and I'm not a glitter girl, as you know. I'm not into, but I just love the sheen. And then I would just put something very simple on the top of this. When you spend a lot of time on your background, you don't want anything fancy, so maybe a collaged image or just a quote, you know. I'm never bothered. All my pages don't have to be finished or done. And if I'm enjoying myself, I'll just make pages doing what I'm enjoying. I think I need a bit of water in here. Can you see it's just dragging a little? So again, just spritz or add some from your water brush, whatever, and just add some in there. Don't know where did I get that blob from? Oh well, I shall clean that up in a bit. Let me try with that. There we go. I always get mess everywhere, but it's hardly the end of the world, is it? It's just the end of the world as we know it. Do you know what? The dust mess police are really, really busy at the moment, so they're not coming after you. You will be saved. You'll be absolutely fine and dandy. I normally have my headphones on. I just love painting with and I have my headphones on. I'm just listening to my talking books and I'm in my element. You might wonder why I'm using one of my paint brushes and not the water brush. And the reason, if you use a water brush, because water is constantly coming out the brush, you are going to water down the product so that eventually it's just going to be, there's just going to be hardly any colour there. So you want a brush that isn't adding any more water of your own. And I know you're going to ask me, can you put these solutions or my shimmer sprays in the water brushes? No, because the mica will just block them. There is a little filter and the dust in here would just totally block that filter. Okay, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, this is the Tim Holtz water brush. Okay, it's the only one I'll use. It's my favourite one. It's got a fine detail brush on and you put water in and you paint with it, but I fill them with all my inks. So I have one for every colour. These are the warms. And then I paint with them, okay? Paint with them on the run, etc. And when my shimmers first came out, I tried them and they just blocked. They just blocked it. So the answer is no. Okay, so there we go. Whatever's left, I just leave it in there. Just leave it to dry, okay? So now I'm going to do it with this one, so you can probably see this one a bit more. So I'm going to add some water to it, and I probably don't need much of this, so I might just see if I can mix up enough without adding any more powder, because I'm only doing the circles. There might not be enough, but can you see how it just goes back to its original form? When you mine, not personally when you mine it, but when you mine mica, it comes out, that is a bit runny. Can you see it's not very strong? So I'm just going to add a little bit more. Oh, I think I was off shot there. I'm just going to add a little bit more in, because again, there's no waste because it just dries down. But when you get mica, when it's in flakes like this, it comes in big sheets and you can flake all them off. So because the water has evaporated out, that's why it's gone back to the flakes. So you cannot damage it at all. So when you add the water again, that's why it goes down. It's amazing stuff, really. Amazing. There we go. That's a bit stronger. Can you see? So let's do the circles. When you're painting, I don't know if you can see, I go round one side. You see, look, I go round one side, round the other side, and then fill in. It's as though I'm drawing it. So round, round, fill in. And it's just practice. But if you do this, you're going to get really jagged edges. So round one way, round the other way. And my only minus point at the moment, just a little bit, it's getting a bit thick, is I only have the 6 colours and I have to wait for more colours to come out, but there are more colours coming. It is quite nice actually being limited. I'm quite enjoying it, just using the 6 colours. This is the Postbox Red. So far I've used the 2 pinks. I used Pink Flamingo, then Bubblegum Pink, and this is Postbox Red, and then I'm going to add some blue in. Actually, should I do blue or should I do green? I actually think I fancy green. I don't know why. Isn't that weird? You know, you just change your mind. So obviously I couldn't take these on a plane in this form with the powders, they would go everywhere. But if I made up a little palette or little pots, I could. And then I could just sit and paint with these on a plane as well. Just reconstitute them. I usually always have a water brush on a plane, and all you have to do is if you just unscrew it, and you can just squeeze, you can get some water out to mix it up. I know all the tricks for flying. And again, you can see I've gone out of the lines, but it'll be absolutely fine. A little extra bit in there, that'll fall off when it dries. Okay, so I've finished with that. I'm just going to clean the brush, then I shall hold it up. I never know how it's coming across on camera. Hopefully you can see these gorgeous shimmers. So am I doing blue? Am I doing green? Am I doing blue? I think I'm going to do green because those 3 are warms. I mean, that's a warm as well, but and again, you can see where I've let some dry. So spritz. I've learned that if you put the water in first, your dust is going to stay put. What I was doing was I was putting the dust in and then I was spraying the water and it was poofing some of the dust out over the top, which is not ideal because then we were losing some of the dust. So let's try this one. Oh, be still, my beating heart. Yes. Right then, and I'm going to do all the bits that are left in the green. Yeah, for on camera it might, you know, I always think it doesn't show as shimmery as it is, but some of them are a bit wet. Let me turn my book. I'm so impatient, aren't I? I just can't wait and let things dry. If I turn my book this way, I'll be fine. There's just a couple there. And I just find it so therapeutic. Oh, again, can you see? Look, I go down one side, I go down the other side, I fill in the middle. Down one side, down. It's as though you're drawing it. So you're doing the outline, look, down, down, fill in. If you're doing this, this is when you can get, you know, you get jaggedy. So just down one side, down one side. And I'm only using the tip of the brush. Can you see? You don't need to get absolutely tons of this on your brush. Most people put far too much on a brush and then it goes everywhere. Remember, you can always add more, but you can't take it off. Okay. How are we doing? Are we trying? I think I'm going to get a piece of kitchen roll and rest my hand on it because it's drying, but I just don't want to smudge it. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. You could stamp. It works on any colour. Okay, let me tell you that. But as with the other dust pages, it looks more dramatic on black. But you can colour on anything. And actually in this book, I'm sure I've got some robins painted on mixed media cardstock. I'm sure I have, which is my my main. So it's not black. And I'm sure I did the hats and their red breasts. Oh, actually, maybe not. I can't. I'm terrible, aren't you? I'll tell you one thing. And I'm not sure. I did. I'm just wondering now whether I was using shimmer on there. I do so many different things. I've been filming videos for all sorts. So, but it is what it is. We'll soon see when I look through the book in a minute, won't we? There's lots of examples on my Facebook page. I actually taught a class, Diamonds Are Forever. I taught it it's online. You can buy it online and we go through everything step by step and you can craft along with me or you can watch and do it at a later date. And that tells you everything. It's a lot more information in there than there is in this series because obviously I have a lot more time. This is just the basics, you know, to cut your teeth on, as we say. But if you're in the if you're in my Dandelion Club, which is a subscription-based club, there's lots of things in there. You'll see me doing demos and videos, and we have classes. Oops, we have classes in there as well. So just a few more to go. And then while that's drying, I'll have a quick look through this book. And remember my tag, the tag from episode 2 was a lot paler. That's what it would be if when you put it on mixed media cardstock. I usually have something kicking around. Here we go. I usually have something kicking around that I can just quickly show you. So what's nice about them as well is they're transparent, and you can always water them down a bit more anyway, but they're not opaque. So if I go over this, you will still see the writing underneath. Okay. So it's a lot more subtle. So look at the green on here. Oops, the island parrot on here. And then look at the island parrot on here. You might actually, let me let it dry a little bit, because you might not see that until it starts to dry. Let's do, let's mix up a bit of blue. We don't need a lot, so we'll just add some water in here. So you can see that was totally dry. Just going to mix up. Get in the nooks and crannies as well, where it forms in the lid. There's a little lip in there. Oh, where's my little... Here we go. See, that's a little bit too watery, so I'm just going to add some in. Because there's no waste, I'm just constantly replenishing them and using them, you know, so don't worry about anything going to waste. That's better. See? So but again, on mixed media cardstock, you have to just wait for it to dry. But you can see through it. You'll see every brush mark. Sorry, I'm leaving marks because my hands have got ink all over them. Because I couldn't wait. I just couldn't wait to film the next part. I've actually got my Christmas pyjamas on. Look, my little Christmas animals on. This will be funny if you're watching it in summer. But yeah. So you can see this was the first colour I picked. And at the moment I'm still able to use it. And then I'm going to put a bit of the blue in here. So this is a much more subtle effect, which doesn't often happen in my journals, but okay. So now you will see that the green, it's only when you see when you turn it, you get that look. The same with the blue. The pink is stronger because the pink is more opaque. But so that's how you can turn them into paint. So we'll just have I just want to see if this is dry. Just let me, no. Oh, these are painted. Can you see the trees? The trees are painted and the snowflakes are painted. Just trying to see. These are painted. See the holly? The holly on there, they're painted. These are painted. This is the Star Flurry stencil. So these are painted and they're outlined in different coloured pens. So I'm just going to outline, I think I'm going to do the diamonds in white and then I'll use a glaze pen just to show you something different. And I'll just do half a page. I'll do the top half to show you the difference. So I'm going to come in with my white pen and I'm going to be neater than I was because I do want to outline these. So I'll do the top half of the page. Now normally I would suggest waiting longer for this to dry before you go in, but obviously on a video I want to move on. Normally what I would do is I would do a couple of pages in different journals, then I've always got something dry ready to move on, because you know I don't like to sit around waiting. So I'm just a bit neater, not a whole ton, but just a bit. Let's turn my book a little bit. It's wet at the bottom, so I'm just going to do these downward lines and then I'll turn the book the opposite way to do the opposite lines. Okay. So now I'll come back this way. Do you have to do this? Not at all. I just think it makes it look sharper. And I'll hold it up in a minute and then you can see for yourself. Is that it? So if you look at the difference from the top of the page to the bottom of the page, if I was putting a lot of things on I wouldn't bother so much, but this page I'm going to leave quite, I like it like this. Okay, so that's using a white, a plain white pen. Now you can also just go in with a black pen as well. If you don't have anything fancy, I could go in with a black pen here over the white, and that will be nice because it will sharpen it up. Again, I'm not sure whether this is going to show. It's this one here, but that will sharpen it up. But one of my favourite pens is the Sakura glaze pen, and the ones I use, there's a clear pen which whatever piece of card, let me see, hang on, there's a clear pen, so if you draw whatever colour card you put it on, it will come up darker. So obviously this looks like a darker black. Okay, so I use that. There's lots of different glaze, but I love the black one. So again, just doing the top. What you do with this is if you write slow, you get this slightly raised glossy look as though you've heat embossed, and it's just absolutely gorgeous, but it takes longer to dry. And you might think, well, you're going over the white. It's fine. The white acts as, it makes it less porous and the white just sits on the top. So again, I'm just going a bit neater. And if a bit of the white shows, I'm not that particular. You might be. Just go around it again slightly. Now, the other day I used a whole pen in one day because I was doing, oh, wrong one. I don't want to do it on there. I keep forgetting I'm only doing halfway. And it's not often I use two colours. Well, it's not often I would mix the glazing with something else. I would either do everything white, everything black, or mix in like the coloured paint pens that are the same colour that I'm going on. So I would use a green paint pen on this and a pink paint pen on that. Do you see what I mean? Let me just show you now. Can you see how gorgeous that is coming? But because I want to show you the different effects, I am mixing the two up, but it actually is looking quite nice. But it doesn't dry as quick as a paint pen, so you have to be careful. Hence I'm starting in this corner and moving down, because I don't want to put my arm in it and smudge it. How many times do you think I've done that? Yes, you would be correct. Lots. Because I get so impatient. But again, what I would do is I would do half of this page, then I would leave it, go to another book or a dialogue, go into there, do a bit more. I always have a couple of pages on the go for this very reason. Okay, so here the white was really standing out. Now it's going back a bit because we've got this gorgeous black on there. The reason black and white work so well is they are not colours. Black is an amalgamation of everything, and white is purely manufactured. And we're so used to seeing black and white. If we opened up a book to read, if we got a new novel and we opened the book, it's normally black writing on a white page. Our brain can easily cope with white writing on a black page as well. But if the page was purple with green writing, it would be really hard for our brains to work out what's going on. Now, if we're stuck at it, we would be absolutely fine and we'd be able to understand it. Just trying to work out which way is best to go for this last bit. But we don't have to do that when we open a book that's just, you know, in the black and white, because our brain realises and does it. So adding another colour in can sometimes make your page too much. And that's why I nearly always do black and white. I would have normally stopped by now and let some of this dry, but I just want to do this half of the page so you can see the difference. Because a lot of people say, I can't be bothered doodling, I can't be bothered going back over something. This is why I do, because I just think it looks so good. But it's entirely up to you. My way is not the only way. My way is not the best way. My way is just my way. I did it my way. Oops. Okay, can we see? So this is the bottom and this is the top with a little bit extra added. If you're worried about this white jumping off, another thing you could do is you could go inside the white of these. So we leave that white and I just go inside with the glaze pen and that will tone that down. But now I'm going to have to do it on, I'm only going to do it in the diamonds, but I'll have to do it in every diamond. I'll just do a few to show you. Oops. Okay, so you could do that to tone it down a little, or I could have put the black line outside. We could have done that. And the other thing you can do is you can utilize the spots that are on there. So for example, where is that? This one, can you see? This is the one where I've painted, and I've got 4 different colours on each one. This is bubblegum pink, this is pink flamingo, this is laid back lilac, and this is London blue. So I've taken 4 different coloured, I don't want that to smudge. I've taken 4 different colours. Can you see I've outlined in a light pink, a deep pink, a purple and a blue, just for something different. And then I took those colours and I just went down the middle. On this one here, I've just used the dots just on the odd few. So you can do that, and I could do every dot in black, I could do every dot in white. It doesn't matter. Let's do a few. I'll just do a few in the top here. But the problem is, once I start, I have to do them all. Maybe I could do stripes. So maybe I'll do a stripe of white, miss one. Do a stripe, miss one. This is gonna, I can't wait to do this leg. I just love faffing. Which one is it? Is it this one? Yeah, and then in between, I could do a stripe of black. And you just do what you can see, and then you move. Can you see now I'm moving down onto this one, so you don't get too confused. So we'll do that one. I've got my book on a tilt as well, which is not ideal because I think I'm going diagonal when I'm not. Just do a couple more so you can see, and that should give you some idea. You can leave it just as it is, but I can't. I have to go in and, but if you are using these glaze pens, just be careful because they do take longer to dry. But can you see there where I've got the black? So there you go. Painting in with the dust. And now if you look at these are all drying back down, look, you see, because the air is just coming out, and they will just dry and they'll end up flaky like that, and you just reconstitute them. Okay, and when I finish this, I'll probably put a quote on it, maybe just a quote, maybe I don't need anything else, or a black silhouette would look quite nice. But journaling is for you. I just enjoy doing it. It's as simple as that. So if you enjoyed this was episode 3 of the Diamond series. Subscribe to my channel. I think it's up above on YouTube, and hopefully see you for many more. So we are moving on to the rocks. So episode 4 will be using the the clear rocks. I have 6 colours and I have a clear, and we're going to be doing such things as like this, where we stamp and we cover it in clear. I'm going to show you, and this is my this is on one of my image sheets, and I've embedded a little thing of Tim's in there. Sorry, I'm just trying to find something else. And then collage. These are collage papers. Whoops. So, and you make tiles. So that's what I'm going to show you in episode 4. Okay, can't wait to see you.